It's so funny thinking about when we first heard.
Remember that time?
And we were just like, I was just like, we have to listen to this.
We were but mere babes.
I know.
And Lin-Manuel liked that video too. He retweeted and was just like, oh my god, they're both so funny. And we were like, oh my god.
That was a great day. And then Matt Steele reposted and said, he thinks I'm funny. And it's like, he said we were funny. Like,
I mean, we know who the people are watching.
Wow, hurtful and incorrect. Hi everybody, and welcome back to Two Gay Matt. It's Matt Palmer.
And it's Matt Steele.
And we just watched the Hamill film.
We just watched, everyone just watched.
I mean, yes,
literally
the world.
Everyone on the planet.
If there's anything to celebrate on July 4th, it should be Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton and kind of nothing else.
Yeah,
you know, I feel like that's about it. That's going well in the country.
I remember hearing that it was supposed to arrive later, like next year, like 2021.
Right.
But because of the pandemic that it arrived a year early, they were just like, oh, let's put this out now. Which I'm very happy we did because no one was doing nothing.
I know, it was, I mean, we were going to have In the Heights, but...
I know.
Yes. We won't talk about that. It's too hard. Obviously, we know the show of Hamilton. We all have listened to this so many times that it's embedded in my brain in a way that I didn't even realize, like, as they were going through the songs. Because I probably haven't listened to this cast recording in full in a year or maybe two at this point, in a while. And so I think this was kind of the perfect time to get it back into public consciousness. And it's like, oh, this is a part of my brain that I still have access to in every lyric to the show.
Yes, and I've forgotten how, like, seamless everything is and how brilliantly crafted it is.
I mean...
It's just like, it's disgusting how good, it's disgusting how good it is. Like, if for a show that has so much hype, usually when something has this much hype and everything, and when the hype has lasted for this many years, like literally half a decade of our lives, you kind of watch and there's an element of disappointment of kind of just like, oh, like the hype was too big. The hype's not too big.
It really isn't.
It is a brilliantly written show and beautifully staged as we see today. I've never seen the show live.
You haven't?
I haven't.
Oh, no. I saw it at the Pantages, I believe in 2017. And it was lovely, it was great. But this I thought was so classily filmed in that it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna really go over the top with all the shots. There were some close-ups, but it was mostly like, it felt like they wanted us to feel that stage experience and just kind of see the details we probably couldn't see from the cheap-ish seats where I was sitting. So it was great.
They knew when to go to the close-ups, they knew how to go to the wide. Sometimes you see a film stage production and it's like, too much close-up, I want to see the stage production, I want to see the set
But it also can go the other way around. I feel like we recently watched recording.
That was from 1984.
If whether it was from 1984 or not, it was very wide the whole time and the songs were very long and some would call pointless, but that's a different video.
He's talking about Stephen Sondheim's Sonny in the Park.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
So we should all shame him in the comments.
I will not be shamed.
I'm sure Lin-Manuel will now not think you're funny anymore.
Whatever. I love Lin and I love him and he will love me.
Well, Lin loves Sonny in the Park.
Well, that's nice. So, I appreciate that for him.
I have something that I really appreciate about the filmed aspect of this show. I appreciate that we rarely heard the audience. I was fully anticipating every time a new character enters, the audience cheers. And like, I feel like as the years have gone on, every live show where there's music, the audience is just screaming the entire time. I feel like it's the X Factor, American Idol-ishization of everything nowadays. And so I was fully anticipating that and not a peep.
I mean, no.
The audience just like cheered maybe like 3 lines. Like Immigrants, We Get the Job Done, there was a little bit of a cheer. Like, it was done sporadically. You weren't caught up in like the audience pleasure of it all. Like you were really focused on what was happening.
Yeah, no, I thought that was good too because it wasn't like they weren't there. Like when they were, heard, they were very heard.
Oh, obviously they clapped at the appropriate times. They laughed at the appropriate times.
But it wasn't overarching. So okay, compared to listening to the cast recording, what were new things that jumped out at you about the show that you saw when like the filmed version?
Really, just fascinated by the details of every single chorus member. Like the chorus members in the background were doing something so specific. Every gesture that they had, like someone would take the papers and it would be like a choreographed thing. Like the precision was so good throughout the entire thing. Like those chorus people were working.
They were, and also I didn't realize, I mean, of course, where else would they come from? But like you would be watching a chorus person who was there the whole time and it's like, oh, they pop up and be like a character for 5 minutes and then pop back in the background. It's like, look at you wearing hats. Like, you know what song I loved the staging on? I mean, there were several, but I really loved the staging for Hurricane. Everything was like, it was unbelievable. And I was like, wait, I saw this. Why did I remember this being so amazing?
Beautiful.
Because I don't think, no shade to Lin, I don't think that's one of my favorite songs in the show, but when I was watching, I was like, I'm struck.
Oh,
I
yes.
am moved. It was like, it felt like everyone was going in slow motion except for Lynn. And it was just like.
Well, because they were.
I know, but it seemed like it was like computer animated, but it was not. They were doing it all themselves.
Yes.
That's
and they
core
were
work
in
for
like
you.
a hurricane as he was standing still and
Stunning in the eye of the car.
The shapes, the stagery and everything. I love it when a show is so stagey and there's so much happening, and then all of a sudden there's really simple staging, like in Dear Theodosia for me. I think it's such beautiful, simple staging with just the dichotomy of the two of them sitting there, different colors, different men with different stories on different sides of the aisle, each talking to their children who are supposed to be in front of them. I think it's just such an elegant moment.
I thought Philippa Sue was out of control amazing. Like, and I knew she was amazing, obviously by the cast recording, but I feel like it was like when I, heard And I'm Telling You by Jennifer Hudson, and then I watched the movie Dreamgirls and saw her perform it. It was like, oh wait. Like, it was amazing by itself, but then when you see it with the acting moments and the choices she's making on stage, I was just completely blown away. I felt the same way about Christopher Jackson as George Washington.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yes,
like, what a presence. I felt like he was equal parts like intimidating, but also like fatherly and like loving. I don't know. I think he really plays that role to a T. And I always knew that Daveed Diggs was a star because of course he is, and like you see him, he pops up in shows and in movies, but like his whole second act as Thomas Jefferson, I love his relationship with James Madison, and that actor's also amazing.
It's so funny. It shows, this has nothing to do with anything, but it like shows the time ring where like James Madison was constantly coughing, and the entire time, every time he coughed, I was like, oh. I was like scared. I was like, oh.
You're scared of corona? You're getting it through the TV?
Well, because I was just like, coughing's dangerous. But, like, I think we're just so used to like being so hyper aware of germs that every time he coughed, I was like, coughing's scary.
You see him shake hands, you're like, don't do that.
I'm like, they're so close to each other's faces.
We don't do that anymore. That is out in 2020. Sorry, guys.
I was really impressed by Jonathan Groff.
He was amazing.
I think on film, like, it came across really, really well. I've never seen the role performed on stage, but I know that I was always very surprised to see that the role, like, is very, like, stoic and sort of just stands there, and it's very much like what they're doing with the eyes.
Yes.
And seeing it on film, I'm kind of just like, oh, I get it.
Right.
Like, this is so
He was spitting.
Yeah.
He was spitting.
Yes. We gotta moisturize the lips.
Yeah, I guess you do, but I mean, just as someone who like has watched themselves before, I'd be like, God, if I saw myself spitting on stage, I would be mortified. But he's killing it, so I hope he's not mortified. But I was just like, man, that is a lot of spit. But of course, Angelica.
Renee Elise Goldsberry. That performance of Satisfied.
It's one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yes,
like,
it really is.
Because I don't feel like people really truly understand how difficult it is to sing that fast, and she's so on her voice. You are working so hard.
But she's still so calm and centered the entire time. And it's very hard to pull off, like, as an actor, like a performance that where there is so much going on lyrically and vocally and emotionally. Like, you just want to like hurl yourself out into the audience. But you're just like, but everything is happening all around you. The way that number's staged.
Oh, I mean, I feel like we talked about Satisfied last time, but still, what a highlight, what a moment, and it just was so fun revisiting these songs again, adding that third level of depth to it, and it just thrills me. And honestly, I mean, I always bring it back to Mariah, but listening to Satisfied this time and like hearing the speed sung things that happened throughout this show, I was like, you know what? This is because of Breakdown by Mariah Carey. I think it's because of Breakdown. I think it's because of We Belong Together. That kind of speed singing, hip-hop, pop balladry overlap was literally invented by Mariah, and it's so lovely that it's reaching a larger audience.
Guys,
thanks to him.
Mariah inspired Hamilton.
Yes!
Mariah is one of our founding fathers of the nation.
This is not ridiculous what I'm saying.
Put her on Mount Rushmore.
Hey, put her on the dollar bill.
Were there any songs that like were improved upon when you saw the staging besides Hurricane?
Hurricane definitely was. I was more interested, I feel like as I listened to the show more and more, as you know, I began to skip over the like guns and ships of it all. Like any sort of like, if this is specifically about a war or a fight, I don't super care. But those were more entrancing and I was more enveloped by those on stage. But I will say my favorites. And also, The Room Where It Happens. I remember being blown away by that when I saw it at the Pantages, but also the performance here. Song-wise, I think Wait For It, of course, is the Leslie Odom Jr. moment, but like staging-wise, like as a moment of the show, I think Room Where It Happens is like where you really see like, oh, this is just a career politician. He just wants power. He doesn't really have a soul for what he thinks is best for this country, and like it all comes through in like a really great number.
Oh yeah, and you see the way like he transforms so well. Like his performance is so like good in that moment, and then the next time he comes back, he's running for president, and you're just like,
I know. And he has that fake smile going door to door, and you're just like, I know what you did. You definitely feel the stakes so much more, and I feel like there's just so much more individuality, especially with the male cast members, and maybe that's just my, you know, I don't listen to a lot of men, as we all know, but when you listen to the cast recording, sometimes you're like, oh, that's Lynn, and then like, someone else is singing. But here it was like everyone had such specific characters and roles they were playing that like my feelings for each of them were stronger throughout.
And just that ending, that whole ending, how it's just all about Eliza and everything.
I know, and Eliza being in the center. It reminded me a bit of like This Is Us. Because I feel like there's a lot, you don't watch This Is Us, but if anyone watches This Is Us, there's so much of the story is about how Jack died and how the dad died, and by the end of season 4, it's very much about, but wait, Mandy's really the heart of this family. Like, sure, he's the one with the big legacy. He's the one we all remember. He's the one who died in the fire. But Mandy. It's all about Mandy. Right?
Okay, I guess. And then I love like the ending where like the very end where she like looks up at the audience and gasps.
What is that? Is she dying?
Oh, I took that. I guess it can be interpreted as like she dies and she sees light and she like.
Yes, I was thinking she'd seen the light.
I interpret that as the whole question of the song is who's telling the story even after I die, who tells the story. And then at that moment, Eliza looks forward and she sees the audience, the people in the future will tell the story. That's like a staging moment. That's like, that's what I got from it.
Oh, I didn't get that. That was a very long story that you got from one Yelp. Yes.
Oh, well, I think it's, it also reminded me of speaking of Sunny in the Park with George again, it reminded me of the 08 revival of Sunny in the Park with George. You know, they're singing the end, Sunday, 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 and the whole set is disappearing and everything, and he's just left with white. And then Dot turns him around and he like looks out at the audience and he just sees white, and he gasped. He was like, oh, and then it was blackout. And so that moment really moved me. So like that kind of moment was reminiscent of that for me. And I was like,
that for you.
So
it's great. I mean, honestly, you're gonna need to watch the Beyonce Black is King at the end of the month anyway, so if you do not have Disney Plus, get it for the month. I was thinking like, this is $6.99 a month and I'm getting Hamilton, Beyonce Black is King, and also that cute gay short we watched beforehand, Out.
Oh my God. The mother in Out.
I mean, performance of the year.
Performance of the year.
Where's her fucking Academy Award?
When she's just like, this hurts.
I know, and I thought she was talking. I mean, we can't really talk about that.
It's a little off topic.
Just download get Disney Plus, and then before, after Hamilton, watch Out, and you'll understand what it means. And also, wait, one question I had for you.
Yes.
Do you think the success of, I mean, obviously Hamilton's in a league of its own.
Yes.
It's going to be very successful.
Yes.
But I think filming in amazing quality these shows with their original cast recordings and then waiting until maybe tours have died down or something and releasing them onto a streaming service if there's enough demand for it. Do you think that could be the future? Because I've always felt like I wish more people could see these kind of shows.
Well, look, it happened. Like, people complain about it all the time and everything, but it does happen.
Okay.
Like, PBS has great performances where they like do like live from Lincoln Center. They did Lane in the Piazza and South Pacific, and they do like the Sunday in the Park with like all the Sondheim Lapine shows are recorded, and you know, they have the Peter Pans like all recorded and all that stuff. So in Legally Blonde, like you do see it, and it happens. And Broadway HD has a lot of shows recorded. Like She Loves Me of the same year on Broadway was recorded. So it is there. It's just not every show, and I understand why it's not every show, because it is insanely expensive. So I understand why it is so infrequent, because it is very difficult to do. But that's why when it does happen, it's so exciting.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Matt Palmer Music.
And it's Matt Steele.
And at 2GayMats for both of us. Go to patreon.com/2GayMats for extra bonus content from us. Listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple iTunes, and I hear something else is coming to iTunes soon. What is that? Is it a movie entitled Divos?
It's a movie entitled Divos. Oh, and if you're watching this, you must love musical theater, so you will love my movie Divos, which premieres on July 14th. Next video will probably be about that.
Hey, so everyone get ready for that. It's all happening. This is, you know, we might have to be inside, but we're going to make it a good summer.
Yeah.
All right? Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back soon with more 2Gay Mats.
Yeah, we love Montana and Parnell.
Oh, yes. We love you. Bye.
Bye.